What's up, everybody? How are you this evening? I hope this live finds all of you guys in good spirits and everything is good in life. For those of you who are having a bad day, um, keep your head up and let's have a talk. Today's live, it's I don't know how long it's gonna be. Don't know exactly what we'll cover to the fullest extent, but we'll see. First things first. It's been a while since I've put a video out or done a live. I had emergency surgery done last Wednesday. Had my gallbladder taken out. I doctor said it was swelled up way bigger than it needed to be, and it had a really good size gallstone blocking it. So I got 4 different cuts, incisions where they took it out and did whatever they did. Actually scared me pretty good because doctor said it was a close call for me. um, I ended up back at the emergency room last night for a while. Uh, more or less, I was more paranoid and worried about what was going on and whether something was actually wrong or not. But I'm not going to complain. I'm here today. I'm still alive. And yeah. So that's just a little bit about what's been going on with me. I'm going to start the discussion out tonight with the National Sex Offender Registry, or the Sex Offender Registry, your local sex offender registry, wherever you're at. There's a sex offender registry that you can look up and see all the registered sex offenders in your area, their charges and all that stuff. But I'd like to discuss more about what my personal opinions are about the flaws of the sex offender registry, what happens with offenders when they become a registered sex offender while they're on probation, and when they get off probation. Um, uh, it, all things in that nature. My biggest problem is the fact that once my biggest problem with the National Sex Offender or with the Sex Offender Registry is the fact that certain tiers, tier 2, tier 3, all 3 tiers have their different requirements for registration. I just got disconnected because of the dude upstairs. I lost my train of thought for a second. um, my opinion is there shouldn't be tiers. If you're a sex offender, you're a sex offender. I'm not one that believes that if you, although it's stupid and I don't encourage it, I don't think that somebody who urinates in public in a park is a sex offender. No, you shouldn't be urinating in parks. That's what we have bathrooms for. There are certain crimes that can land you on the sex offender registry that I don't agree with. Um, However, I can see why they're there in most cases. Um, First of all, my opinion, my biggest opinion is the fact that if you have to register as a sex offender, I don't think there should be a time frame, a time limit on how long you have to register. Like in my area, it's 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years to life. My opinion is the person that sexually abused me, he made me a sexually abused victim for the rest of my life, and therefore that makes him a sex offender for the rest of his life. I don't get to just say after 10 years of after being a victim that I'm no longer a victim of sexual abuse, because I will always be a victim of sexual abuse. Um, that's one of my biggest problems right there. Um, the system works pretty good because the offender is on probation or parole, because then they have somebody watching over them. But let's say a person has to register as a sex offender for 10 years and they only get 2 years of probation for their crime. That means they're only being monitored by probation and parole for 2 years. After that 2 years of probation and parole is up, then they don't have to report to anybody except for by piece of paper 3 times a year and in person once a year. Other than that, there's no contact by anybody that comes and checks and makes sure that they're not downloading kitty porn, that they're not engaging un, in disgusting activities. Um, there's nobody to watch over them. And I believe that once you have to register as a sex offender, you register for life and you have to report just like to a probation and parole officer for the rest of your life. My opinion, that's my opinion. My opinion may be different than yours. I'd love to hear what your opinions are. Um, that's one of my opinions. Um, the National Sex Offender Registry, it's a great idea, but it's a failed concept. When let's take my wife's abuser for one. She was abused by her stepdad. He was never convicted of it. Um, for her anyway. After he violated my wife, and after that, he ended up doing it to another girl, and he got something like pathetic 3 to 4 years in prison for what he did. And after he got out of prison and off parole and whatever, he was no longer being watched over by probation and parole, and he actually went non-compliant to the terms and conditions of the sex offender registry for almost a full year. Um, what is what is the reason that a sex offender would want to stay compliant if they have something to lose? If they get turned loose on off probation and parole, and all they have to do is send in a piece of paper and get their picture taken once a year, then where's the incentive for them to be a model citizen, to not violate children anymore, to not violate women anymore, to not violate men anymore? Uh, Becky Kindler, I'm not sure what you're meaning. I didn't get justice as a kid either. Um, from the man who victimized me. I didn't get justice either, and there's so many of us out there that have that in common. There are so many of us that don't get justice. Um, I'm not out here. I'm not sure if you're. Well, I'm not out here to be a warrior. I'm out here just to. I'm not sure how I'm sugarcoating anything. I'm just barely getting into it. I don't sugarcoat anything. Um, please explain to me how I'm sugarcoating anything. There's just certain things that I can't say because I don't want YouTube to take my videos down. And I'm here to create content to help people understand what's really going on out there on how sex offenders are handled and exactly how things work about the system. So I'm not sure what you're meaning by that. But it's nice to have you here. Thank you for joining. Um, but after they get off probation and parole, they don't get somebody that comes and knocks on their door randomly to make sure they're not getting on unwanted sites and contacting underage kids. There's nobody to watch over them and hold them accountable for their actions at the current time. They're free to roam about all they want, and all they have to do is send in a piece of paper 3 times a year and get their picture taken once a year. It's ridiculous. Um, my wife's abuser, like I was saying, he was a registered offender up until the day he died, and there was almost a full year period of time there that he was non-compliant. I went ahead and called his local county police officers, and they literally laughed at me and said, "Yeah, we don't have anybody to go and hold them, to arrest them and bring them up on charges." And yeah, there's no department for that. So I honestly believe Becky Kimler says sex offenders here have a house across from the Women and Children Center. What do you think about that? I think it's absolutely fucking disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting. There's no reason why. There's no reason why these sex offenders are housed together, multiples of them in one apartment complex, one area, right across from any kind of women's center, across from any kind of school center, across any kind of setting that they can be putting any person in jeopardy for. I there's an apartment complex right here, right next to a high school here in my town, and I'm working on trying to get something done about it. But I'm only one man, and to create awareness to people and to get people to understand what's really going on out there, most people really don't give a shit. If it don't directly affect them, they don't care. But I do. There is an apartment complex right here that's right next to one of our junior high schools or our middle schools. It's divided. The only division between them is a 12-foot chain link see-through fence, and that's it. And in the state I'm in the state of Idaho, registered sex offender is not supposed to be allowed within 500 feet of a school, of a daycare, of a facility that facilitates mostly caters to children, any of that. So Becky says, I'm pissed, and God forbid I never need help because I wouldn't go there. What do you mean you wouldn't go where? Yeah, I've been bringing awareness to the police, the prosecutor, news, anyone I can. Well, welcome here, Becky. Welcome here. I welcome you with open arms to the rest of this community. I know it's not a very big one. I've only got 65 subscribers, but I'm trying. This is my way of trying to get out there. I run a group on YouTube, on Facebook. It's called Get2Know. There's a little over 250 members on that. This is what we want to do. This is the way I feel that I can hopefully make some kind of change and a difference in the world. The police don't care if it don't directly affect them, and it's literally because there's nobody to hold them accountable for what they do after they get off probation and parole. As soon as the county stops making money off of them, they no longer give a shit. They don't care about a single thing that they don't care. They don't care. They literally when I called my wife's violator in, when I called him in for being non-compliant, they literally laughed at me. Literally laughed at me and thought it was a fucking joke. I said, well, I was like, well, can a citizen, as a citizen, can I do a citizen's arrest? And I can't. Well, I mean, what's the chances of that happening? You know what I mean? My opinion is once you have to register as a sex offender, you have to register and report to probation and parole or a sex offender office every single fucking month, just like somebody who got locked up for committing a burglary, or just like somebody who got locked up for a drug possession. They have to see a probation officer every month, and so should a sex offender. Every time a sex offender makes a new victim, they make a victim for life. That makes them a pedophile sex offender for the rest of their life, and they should be monitored accordingly. So yes, Becky, I fully fucking agree with you on that. I fully agree with you on that. There's so many of us. My wife didn't get justice. My wife's friends that were violated didn't get justice. I didn't get justice. Some of my family members didn't get justice. So many people we know in our lives that we know every single day will never get justice. We can try to get a little bit of justice and a little bit of help by trying to make a change. If we sit here and do nothing and try nothing and don't bond together as one unit, then we won't get anything changed, and nothing will change. The only thing that'll change is pedophilia will become more and more acceptable in the world. And that's not okay. And that's honestly how I feel about it. Sorry, let me read your comments again here, Becky. Becky said, this needs to be talked about. Yes, it does. I fully agree with you. Becky says, I have 3 older sisters who are mentally ill from our childhood. I'm much stronger than them. I will send several people. I appreciate it. Becky. Would you like to be a moderator on my channel? Because I will. I'll make you a moderator right now. If you want to be a moderator, you can be. I'll make you a moderator, and come check out the group. Come check out my group on Facebook. It's called Get2Know, just like this one. It's a private group. I had to privatize it because I didn't want kids getting in there, and I didn't want Facebook shutting it down because of having kids and inappropriate shit being talked about. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's the way it has to be. I don't believe that's the way it should be. I've been talking to my kids about sexual abuse and how wrong it is since I thought they could understand the words that were coming out of my mouth. My wife and I have preached these words to them their entire lives, and my son just turned 16. And I still talk to my son about it. My daughter's almost 14. I just talked to my daughter about this stuff just yesterday, as a matter of fact. This stuff has gotten so hush hush and taboo that people are afraid to talk about it. And you shouldn't be afraid to talk about sexual abuse towards children or anybody in that matter. It should be not wanting to be talked about because it doesn't happen anymore. People think that by not talking about it, it's going to make it go away, and it only makes it worse. All you got to do is look at the history. All you got to do is look at the numbers. There's almost 1 million people on the sex offender registry right now in the United States. Out of the 50 states, almost over 1 million people. Sorry, this stuff gets me going. There are almost 1 million people right now on the National Sex Offender Registry in the United States of America. By my calculations, I estimate, and these are just my numbers, I estimate there should be at least 5 times that many people on the National Sex Offender Registry. Any statistics that you find about sexual abuse only cover children between the ages of 12 to 18 because they don't want to violate children's privacy that are below the ages of 12. So they don't keep track of those numbers. So the abuse that I endured from the time I was 7, or from the time I was 6, until I was 11, don't count. I don't even get to be a statistic because they don't keep track of those numbers because they don't want to violate any children's rights. They don't need to know my fucking name to know that I've been sexually abused and for me to count for them to get the real numbers. The reason they keep the numbers out there secretive like that is because the more people that find out what the actual numbers really are, the more people we would have on our side fighting this stuff. A lot of people don't have kids, so they don't give a fuck about whether somebody's getting sexually abused as a child or not, because it's not directly affecting them. You know what I mean? There's changes that I want to see done. I think one of the biggest things. Okay, that's fine, Becky. But just know, if you ever want to be a moderator for my channel, by all means, I will gladly make you one. I want people just like you. I want people just like you who know what we're talking about, who know how big the problem is. I want people just like you to be moderator and part of this, man. People like us can get together and put our heads together and make a difference somehow. We have to. We have to at least try. And I'll try and I'll try and I'll try until the day I'm dead. Another major thing I got is a person gets arrested for sexual abuse or sexual exploitation. Nicolina, hi Nicolina, you're here. How are you? Nicolina, would you like to be a moderator for my channel? Because I'd love to have you as a moderator for my channel. I am so happy to see you here, Nicolina. I really am. I almost started crying right there. I'm serious, man. That means a lot to me that you're here. Anyway, one of the biggest things I have a problem with. Sorry, Nicolina, you got me all choked up here right now. One of the biggest things I got a problem with is the fact that somebody gets abused. They do the right thing. They tell their parents. Their parents take the right actions and go to the police and go about seeking justice the right way. These pigs walk into the courtroom and that prosecuting attorney walks right up to that sex offender, that person that committed these crimes. Yep, you're right. And the state does nothing. Well, they do something, Nicolina. They walk right up to him and hand him a plea bargain. Well, if you plead guilty to this, then we'll drop this and this charge and you won't have to register. Well, guess what? That doesn't change the fact that this dude was raping me for 6 years of my life. Right? Hey, I didn't get no fucking plea bargain. I didn't get no plea bargain from this fucking person that did these nasty, vile things to me. My wife didn't get no plea bargain. Not one of us victims got a fucking plea bargain from any one of the people who made us a victim. Not one of us. Why the fuck should they? Especially without us saying okay. These prosecuting attorneys do whatever the fuck they want just to get the conviction. And that's one of the major things that's got to change, man. No more plea bargains. No plea bargains for sex crimes. Period, man. Period. And like I said, no, I do not believe that somebody taking a piss in the park when they're drunk is a sex crime. I don't. No, I don't encourage anybody pissing in public because not only is it gross, it's just fucked up. Go to the bathroom. That's why we built them. That's why we built them. Okay. There's certain crimes that are on the sex offender registry or on the that you can be convicted of that'll land you on the sex offender registry that I don't believe in. I don't believe they should be there. I don't. 98% of the ones that are on there, yeah, they should be there. When you walk into when a detective walks in to a house that they've been surveilling and these people have been under surveillance for however long, and they walk in and they find hundreds of videotapes of these crimes being committed against children that these people have recorded. They find millions of images of children on their laptops of sexual exploitation and all of that. There's no reason whatsoever that they deserve to go to trial. They don't need this big old long drawn out process. If you get caught with 1 million images of kids on your computer and you got 500 video cassette tapes and CDs and hard drives full of kiddie porn and that's you're fucking guilty. You're fucking guilty. That's a life sentence, if not an executable sentence to me. The person that did this vile shit to me, he fucked me up for the rest of my life, my entire life. I can't exactly say the exact things that how my life would be different, but I'm telling you right now, if he wouldn't have been making me perform oral sex on him when I was 5 years old, maybe my life wouldn't have turned out so fucked up like it has been. Maybe I wouldn't have PTSD. Maybe I wouldn't have anxiety issues. Maybe I wouldn't have agoraphobia. Who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have these personality disorders. Maybe my life would be better than it is now. But I can tell you right now, he definitely didn't fucking help me by the things he did. Not one victim out there will ever be helped by a sexual predator. Ever. Only thing they get is a lifetime of bullshit and struggle and pain and misery and hatred. Just, oh, I fucking hate him, man. And something's got to change. It's not okay. It's not okay in this world. It's not okay to do. It needs to change. And now's the time that we got to stick up for ourselves. Now's the time that we need to make a fucking change, man. And it's not a joke. This shit's going on way too fucking long. It's almost becoming normalized, man. It's almost becoming a normalized behavior. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. The things I endured, the things my wife endured, the things anybody, any child has ever had to endure, knows that it's not, that it needs to change, man. It needs to stop. And this is my way of trying to make a difference. If I only make a difference in one fucking person's life, that's all that's all that matters, man. I'll feel better about myself. I will. Hey, I need to gather my composure. Hang on a second, you guys. Okay. Becky says we need a lot of statutes changed in many states, Michigan especially. If you dig deep enough on YouTube, you will find pics of children, and it's sickening. What did I say? What did I say? Your other page was it's the same as this one. It's on Facebook. It's called Get2Know. Just like it's spelled out just like this on here. Yeah, I'm passionate about this shit. There's so many people that you walk by every single day that you would never even know that was a victim of childhood sex crimes, and I'm almost positive that the numbers are so outlandishly high that if we actually knew what they were, no one would believe you. It's disgusting and it's sad. Right now, as we're having this discussion right here, there's a child being fucking violated right now and having their life messed up for them for the rest of their life. Right now, as we're doing this. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Sorry. Like I said, I get emotional about this stuff, man. Anyway, hi Sugar Glider. How are you today with your fine face? I love you, babe. You're my biggest support. Let's see. Thank you, Becky. And you're right. Not many men talk about their abuse, and ever since I was 18 years old, well, just about before I turned 18, and I finally broke down and told my parents what happened to me. I have spoke up about this basically my entire adult life, man. Is it an easy thing for me to do? No. It becomes easier as time goes on for me to talk about. I get all kinds of weird looks from people when I talk about it because it takes people off guard. Oh my God, you're talking about you did what? Yeah, that kind of stuff literally happens in this world. It's happening right now to somebody that you know, whether you know it's happening to them or not. It's happening right now. It's happening right now in your family. Someplace, somewhere in your family, whether it be in your household or your cousins or it's happening right now. Somebody you know and care about as a child that is being sexually violated and having their innocence taken away from them, and it's not okay. This is when we got to stand up, you guys, right here, right now, as one, and make a change, because just one child is one too many. One is one too many. It's said that sorry, Becky, you really took me off guard with that. Not letting men talk about it. I'm proud of you. It's a little bit easier for me to talk about it when I feel like it's going to reach somebody that maybe it's going to help them, man. You know? I had a friend a few years back that I don't know how it came up in discussion, but we were talking about some things, and he said that his son was said that his son was showing him signs that he was thinking that he was being violated or sexually violated. And his son happened to be in my house, and I just started talking to him. I didn't pay no attention. You didn't put two and two together really at the time. But I just started talking to his dad about things that happened to me. And about 10 minutes into our conversation, I hear on my bedroom door, and I answered it, and I was like, "What's up?" I was like, "What's up, bud?" And he goes, "Hey, I need to talk to my dad." I said, "Okay. Do you need me to leave the room? Do you need to talk? Can you talk to your dad right here with me?" Or he's like, "No." He's like, "You can hear me." He's like, "You can hear me." I said, "Okay. Well, here's your dad. Let talk away, man." And he goes, "Dad, Uncle so and so has been doing such and such with me for the last 2 months." At that moment in time, I knew that my mouth could do some good for somebody. This little kid heard a little bit of my story and heard this man at the time, this man that he'd never met before, talking about this stuff to his dad and how it was wrong. And he came forward right then and there, man. So I know talking about this disgusting, vile stuff can make a positive difference in the world. It has to. It has to. Together we can make a lot of differences for a lot of people. Are we ever going to beat out all the evil in the world? No, it's impossible. We can make a pretty good fucking dent in it. I got faith in that, man. Okay, I will, babe. Thank you. My wife's just reminded me to take a breath, so. Becky Kindler says, a lot of people don't know what we have went through, and they don't want to take the time to listen. It's got to stop. You're right. You're right. The last live I did, the last live I did, I decided as soon as I figure out how to do it, I'll do it. But I'm not sure how I can. But today, well, the last live I did, I decided out of every chat, I'm going to pick my personal hero of the day. And today, the hero of my day today is Becky Kimbler. On behalf of Get2Know, Becky Kimbler, welcome to this community. Welcome to the channel. And you are my personal hero of the day. Because you're right. Most people don't listen. Most people don't give a shit. Well, it didn't happen to me, so why should I care? I don't have kids, so why should I care? Do you have a fucking heart? Do you care about humankind at all? Do you care about children at all? Would you like someone to come up to you and violate you? Right? You know what? No, you probably wouldn't. So that's an issue for me. So we talk about it. Why can't you talk about it? Nobody likes to sit down and have a discussion with their kids about being sexually violated for at any point in time. I'm glad I talked to my kids about it. I sit here as a 43-year-old man, knowing that my 16-year-old and my 14-year-old have never been fucking sexually victimized. Never. Why? Because I've talked to them and my wife has talked to them about this shit ever since they could understand the words that were coming out of our mouth. They knew about no squares before they knew what a fucking square was, man. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer that pedophilia is a learned behavior. Well, just like something can be learned, it can be unlearned as long as it quits being fucking taught. This shit gets handed down from people from generation to generation to generation, and it gets worse and worse and worse. People don't see that. People don't understand it. The numbers out there will make you sick to your stomach about how disgusting and how many people out there are actually sexual victims, man. From whatever age. The childhood sex trafficking business is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year business. A multi-billion-dollar-a-year business. Put all of human trafficking together. How many billions upon billions of dollars do you think they make? We got to do something, you guys. The reason why the way things are the way they are is because people fucking don't talk about it. The reason why the laws are the way they are is because most of the people that are in positions of power to come up with these penalties for these crimes are committing these fucking crimes themselves. They're pedophiles themselves. They're not going to go and make a penalty for a crime that makes it so they get executed or have to spend life in prison if they're committing them same crimes. Yes, please. Hit like on the page, please, everybody. Share, like, subscribe, but only if you want to, man. If you like the content, like it. If you don't. If you want to subscribe. If you don't, man. I would love it if you did. But it's a free world, man. You're free to make your own choices, man. Any suggestions on how to make the channel better besides getting a better camera and maybe a better backdrop and maybe a better looking host? I'm up for suggestions. Any specific topics that you want to talk about that you have in mind, leave I read every comment that I get. I don't get many, but I read them all. I try to respond to them all. Becky says over 600,000 children go missing every year. Yes, indeed they do. There's over 52,000 children that come up missing and are never seen again just out of foster care every year in this country. 1 every 9 seconds in this country in foster care come up missing between the ages of 0 to 17 and 364 days old. Missing and never seen again. And 95% of them are classified as runaways. I don't know how the fuck a 3-year-old child runs away on their own. I don't know how the fuck a 10-year-old runs away on their own. But that's what they do. That's how the cops fulfill their mission. We've done our protecting and serving. We've dubbed this 3-year-old as a runaway. So maybe they'll come back and maybe they won't. Like, subscribe, hit the bell below. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I had a little bit of a health issue last week, and it's kind of rolling over into this week still. But I will be getting more content and more videos brought out to you guys, more lives just like this. Becky Kimbler, thank you for becoming a member. I believe you subscribed. I appreciate you being in the chat, voicing your opinion. Is there anything that you would like to discuss while we're here right now? Anything off the top of your head? You said you live in Michigan. Yeah, you're right. Michigan has a lot of problems when it comes to childhood sex crimes and how they're handled and how they're dealt with. Yes. Shockingly, the worst state in the United States for these types of crime happens to be Oregon. So go figure, I guess. I would have never thought Oregon would be like the worst state. I would have figured some other bigger state, but it's not. It's Oregon. They're housing these. They're housing these pedophiles together. They're housing these pedophiles right next to schools. There's nobody to monitor them. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you, Dayla. One of the biggest things that need to be changed is once you have to register as a sex offender, you're on the sex offender registry for life. And just like a person who gets out of prison and on parole for drugs or robbery or whatever crime you have, they have to report to a probation officer while they're on probation. Well, a sex offender is a sex offender for the rest of their life. That's something that you can't take away. A drug addict, a burglar, a robber, they're more likely to change their life and change their habits than a sex offender is. You get convicted as an adult as a sex offender, welcome to a lifetime of supervised probation as a sex offender. You want to commit one of the worst crimes? I think it's worse than murder in most cases, myself. You want to commit the most heinous crime you can commit against a child, then you get the most heinous punishment you can possibly do, because they'll never go for execution of these people. They won't. But one thing I know for sure is they're more likely to reoffend. And my offender, he's in his early 70s, late 60s, early 70s now, and I guarantee you that he has never stopped violating children in his life. Guaranteed. And I guarantee that's the same way with 90% of all sex offenders. Every one of them will go on to victimize at least one more, and then at least one more, at least one more, at least one more, until the day they die. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If we actually knew what the real numbers were, if there was a way we could get a hold of the actual numbers on how bad this is, I don't know if I'd be able to live with myself, man. I really don't. I really don't. I really don't. I was having a conversation with a couple of friends of mine, and they had their kids here, And we was all having a conversation, and this topic came up because I was telling them about my channel. And I was like, well, there's 6 of us standing out here on this porch, and I guarantee you, I can tell you right now that I know for a fact that 3 of us have been victimized as kids. And out of the 6 of us on there were 5 of us that were victimized as kids. So the numbers are real in a way. The problem is real. The solution is attainable. If you make the punishment so heinous for something, people aren't going to want to do it anymore. If you made the penalty for any kind of sexual acts from an adult to a child was life in prison without parole, I guarantee you we see a lot less victims out there as children. If you made the penalty for sex crimes towards children as an adult the death penalty, I guarantee you the numbers would drop by 90%. Threaten to take somebody's life from them if they get caught doing something. Tell me you're going to execute me for smoking a joint and see if I'm going to smoke a joint. Know what I mean? I'm just saying. Very nice to meet you, and God bless you too, Becky. And remember, like I said, Becky Kindler, today, you are my hero of the day. I try to keep these under an hour, but if they go over an hour, then they do. We're right at 47 minutes. Thank you for coming and watching. Thank you for being a part of this. Nicolina 777. Thank you, girl. I really appreciate your support. This is Aaron McGonigal, Andrew Scott with Get to Know. Get to know what the real numbers are. Get to know what the real problem is. Let's get together and get to know how to make a change in the world to make it better for our children. Until then, keep safe. Keep your kids safe by educating and talking to them about what the problem is. Teach them the right things that they need to know so they can get to know and be safe. Thank you. Peace, everybody. Love. See you next time. Have a good one.